Hey friends! So, how does audio compression work exactly? Well, let me show you, and I will try to explain as simple as I can. Here I have drawn the digital audio scale with a peak at -0 decibel, and the lower it goes, the more the negative values are here. And I have also marked with a red line the absolute peak value. No audio goes above this. This is where audio is clipped in the digital audio scale, which is 0 decibel. Alright, so let's say we draw a waveform here. Let's do a simple version that it goes like this. It starts low, go up to like -10 decibels, go down to -30, goes up again, hits the ceiling here, goes down, up, and down. Right, so that's a very simplified version of an audio waveform. And now let's add compression on this audio here. So the first thing you do is set the threshold level. This is where the compression will start working. So let me draw a line here and put the threshold on -20 decibel. This means that for every piece of audio here above -20 decibel, the compression will be applied. And as soon as the audio goes below this threshold, the compressor will do nothing. So basically, the compressor will compress the peaks that goes above this threshold that you set on your compressor unit, which we set at -20 decibel here. Next is the ratio, and the ratio is how much the compressor will compress these peaks. So if you set the compressor at 2:1, it means that it will basically compress the value here to be half of the distance from -20 to -10. So basically this will be peaking at -15 decibel. And then you have the attack and release. Those are a bit more complicated, but basically the attack is how fast the compressor will start working its compression after the audio has gone above this threshold level. So if you set a slower attack, the compressor will let these start of the audio go through without compressing it. Let's say you set it at 50 milliseconds, for example. Then from this moment and 50 milliseconds after, from here, the compressor will start working. And the release is the opposite, but at the end. So how soon after the audio has passed below the threshold level, this blue line here, will the compressors stop compressing the audio. Alright, now let me show you visually what happens to the audio waveform after you have applied compression. I will draw a yellow line to show how the audio waveform will look like after the compression has been applied. Below the threshold level, it will be exactly the same. As it reaches -20 decibel, the attack time comes into play. So if we have, for example, 50 milliseconds of attack time, the compressor will do nothing for 50 milliseconds. Let's say that's here. After 50 milliseconds, the 2:1 ratio of compression will be applied, which means that this peak here will be lower and will be -15, and then go down. Sorry, I can't draw here. And then after it has gone below threshold, the release time comes into play. And let's say we have a very fast release time, so it follows just along here. the same. Here again, a bit of attack time. Then it will look something like this. And let's say it will look like that. Now here comes the important part. As you can see here now, the peak values are no longer at the top of the digital scale, which means that you have decreased the dynamic range from which is the difference between the lower parts and the louder parts of the audio. And this means that you can now, after the compression have been applied, increase by gaining the volume level so that these peaks are once again closer or at the top of the digital audio scale, which means that the average loudness level will be higher for this track afterwards. To make this a bit more clear for you, let me just pull up the yellow line now. So the audio is peaking once again at the top of the digital scale, but as you can see now, the average volume of this yellow line, which was after compression have been applied, is higher than the white line, which was before the compression. Alright, now you know how compression works in music production. I'm Mike, signing out, and you rock, my friends! Are you a music maker who wants to become successful with your music? Then join the Music Makers group on Facebook and meet and connect with fellow music makers on the same journey as you.